Welcome to the Tax Sale Podcast, where tax sale investing is made easy. My name is Casey Denman. I'm a tax sale veteran. I'm the leading tax sale expert. I'm the author of the Tax Sale Playbook, founder of the Tax Sale Academy, and I am your host right here on the Tax Sale Podcast. This is a completely free podcast, and it's brought to you through and because of the Tax Sale Academy. So if you are looking to learn more about investing in tax-defaulted real estate, make sure you check us out at taxsaleacademy.com. So a little while back, I did a video titled 20 Ways to Fail as a Tax Sale Investor. It's definitely an educational video, and it's somewhat entertaining as well. And I'm going to take a similar angle with today's episode, but I want to discuss the worst tax sale advice that I see given. So if you know my history, you know that I've been around for 20 plus years buying and selling tax defaulted real estate. And I've done it in more states than I can remember, and I've held an interest in thousands of tax defaulted properties. I've also had the absolute privilege and honor of playing a very small role in the road to tax sale success for thousands of new tax sale investors. Along with watching them on their journey, it's provided me with quite a bit of knowledge when it comes to new tax sale investors and even veteran ones about what they should and should not be doing. People email me from time to time asking about what I think of a piece of advice that they received somewhere. And that advice might come from friends, family members, realtors, or even other tax sale investors. Over the years, I've heard loads of advice from people inside and outside of this business that I just don't agree with. I think it's absolutely wrong. And a few of these are just talking points, information that has been regurgitated by others who lack actual real-world experience. Stuff that sounds good, but in reality is quite lousy. Now, obviously, of the things that I discuss, some of them might work for some people, including perhaps you. But I wanted to shoot this episode to go over a few things that I disagree with, the reason I disagree with them, and how I'd flip them and then change the angles to make them work for most new investors. The first one is learn by doing. It sounds good, but let me tell you, I've got personal first-hand experience in this. When I started, there was no YouTube, there was no podcast, there were no easy-to-access learning resources like the one you're listening or watching right now. Instead of working like crazy to try to find a tax sale mentor, I figured, what the heck? I'm just going to go out and start buying stuff. This ultimately led to the collapse of my business, years of wasted time, and some of the most expensive learning lessons you could even imagine. I saw a comment one time on a YouTube video, probably a year or so ago, and the gentleman said, "Why should I buy your book when I can go out and just start buying properties and learn by doing?" Two answers. Number one, because the book is $5, or actually less than $5. But number two, and most importantly, that first property, if you buy it incorrectly, might literally bankrupt you. I hear horror stories all the time about people who wanted real world, school of hard knocks type experience. In the last 3 weeks, here's what I've heard via email or on YouTube comments. And I should note that all of these are from people who found me after the situation happened. And none of these folks are members of the Academy. And to my knowledge, none of them have read the Tax Sale Playbook. The first one is the lady that spent $32,000 for a house. She drove by the house 2 days later, only to realize it had been demolished. The next one is a person who bought 20 acres. They were so happy, they were so excited about, only to realize it was landlocked and they couldn't legally access it. Another one has an EPA lien on it, so now they're dealing with the federal government. Another one was a building that was literally falling onto itself and collapsing. I've got lots and lots of other stories like that, but those right there happened within the past 3 weeks. Here's the solution. Learn before doing. Yes, you can and you should learn by doing. To this day, 20 plus years later, I still learn on every single transaction that I get into and out of. But it is so much easier. You're going to see success so much faster, and it's so much cheaper and safer if you invest the time to learn what you're doing first and then go out to do it. And don't just say, "Yep, I learned, I did what you said, and this still happened," because people say that. Because if you actually learned, if you put forth the effort to learn thoroughly, to learn everything about what you're supposed to be doing, you don't make the kind of mistakes that I just discussed. It's as simple as that. Next one, buy a tax sale property to remodel it and flip it. Now, I'm guilty of having done this in the past, and it sounds like a good idea, right? Maybe, in theory, and it might work for some people, especially the folks you see on TV. But this is one of the ones that a lot of people seem to push for some reason that I don't agree is the correct approach for a lot of brand new tax sale investors. Let me lay this out here for you. First off, I've been in more tax sale homes than most people can even imagine. Most of these homes, the overwhelming majority of these homes, are not the types of flips where you walk in, change the carpet out, paint the walls, plant some flowers, and then throw it on the market. Most of these properties have major issues, like every single wire in the house has been ripped out so somebody can go and get scrap, or where a sawzall has been used to cut every single pipe into place, and of course where your HVAC systems, your hot water heaters, all that stuff is long gone. And most tax sale homes are going to have some rot. Now, if you're lucky, might be minimal. If you're unlucky, could be a few holes in the roof, or the entire roof might be missing. I've seen that one many times. These types of properties often require complete remodels. I'm talking about down to the stud guts that even require foundation and structural work many times, and that's your average property. So if you're a brand new tax sale investor, you're learning the tax sale business. To do it correctly, it takes a time investment. Your time is limited. Why on earth would somebody think it's a good idea to stop learning about tax sale investing and then stop making tax sale deals to go out and try to learn how to rehab properties? As a complete beginner, rehabbing properties is a heck of a lot of work. And it's a lot more work than simply buying and selling tax defaulted real estate. And why? To make a few extra bucks after you make it look pretty? Listen to this. In the time it takes somebody to rehab and flip a house for a few extra bucks, I've already sold that house and probably 2 or 3 others using that same exact money. And I've done it from the comfort of my home, from my office, from my vacation house, or wherever else I decide, all without dealing with contractors, sucking in dust, and dealing with the type of stench that makes you want to immediately go home and shower. Instead, focus on learning this business. Focus on finding good deals, building your buyer's database that allows you to quick flip these properties without the time, effort, stress, and money, lots of it, needed for remodels. If you want to get into the rehab business, that's fine. You're welcome to it. For some people, it might work. But don't misunderstand me when I say this. For a lot of people, buying properties to rehab them is not the best path to success. Next one, buy low, sell high. Now you probably think I'm crazy for throwing this in here. Obviously, buy as low as possible, sell as high as possible, right? Don't leave money on the table. We've all heard these things. Of course, don't take this out of context. If you can do that and you can do it without impacting the long-term sustainability of your business, fantastic. But hear me out. That doesn't have to be the end-all strategy. For the newer investor, when you need to sell high, that usually implies that they should wait out for absolute top dollar. That means they'll price their property above everybody else. They will set records in neighborhoods. The problem, though, is when you price your property above everybody else to get absolute top dollar, guess what happens? Every property priced below yours will probably sell before your property sells. And you're also going to have to, of course, spend lots of time marketing it, getting buyers in the door, sending out those email blasts, maybe list it with a top realtor in town. Top dollar does not come easy, and it does not come fast. Instead, buy low and sell. Not sell high, not sell low, just sell. You don't have to sell at the peak of the market. You don't have to get absolute top dollar for everything. The opportunity cost that you have as your money is tied up into a property for 3, 6, 9 months can be tremendous. And it can easily outweigh your so-called top dollar. Instead, I personally like pricing properties below everybody else. That way, instead of my property selling last, it'll sell first. It'll sell fast, and the transaction will probably be much, much easier. Then I can take that money, reinvest it into something else, and do it all over again. Meanwhile, the guys trying to get top dollar, their properties are still stuck on the market. And of course, the strategy to buy as low as possible is not all that difficult in the tax sale business with the right approach. The next piece of wrong advice that I commonly see, and I absolutely hate hearing it, is that you should do your first or next tax sale deal in 3 days, 10 days, 2 weeks, 30 days, whatever that made up number is that you want to go with. It's absolutely stupid. It is ludicrous, and I hate seeing that piece of advice. More people have absolutely wrecked themselves financially because of that piece of advice than any other approach in this business. When you put yourself on an artificial timeline to make an investment, you're going to fail. There are far too many things in this business that are out of our control. You don't control when the auctions are. You don't control what properties are available. You don't control how much competition there is. You don't control how much properties sell for, and countless other factors. You don't control all these things, yet you want to force yourself to make an investment in a certain amount of time. That is absolute insanity. Instead, here's what you do. You prepare yourself to make your investment in X days. Give yourself the goal of learning this business, of studying, of practicing, of doing it the right way, of being prepared, being confident to make an investment in a certain period of time. And by the way, it's likely going to take you more than 3 days and probably more than 7 days to properly learn. But set a goal that you'll be prepared to buy, and then when the opportunity comes, take it. But do not ever force yourself into an investment because it is a goal to buy something in X amount of days. Absolutely stupid. The next piece of advice is to avoid vacant land. Everyone needs a place to live, right? But not everybody wants to buy vacant properties. Who are you going to sell that land to anyhow? Who would want a vacant lot to pay taxes on? These are all things that I've heard over the years. And yes, I buy and sell many, many homes, but I've made a killing off of vacant land transactions over the years. The problem is that vacant land is not nearly as sexy or Instagram worthy as that tax sale home might be. No one wants to hear you brag about that 1/4 acre vacant lot you bought. I get it. But at the end of the day, it does not matter what you bought. It matters how much money you made off of that investment. My suggestion is to be inclusive of all types of real estate. Can you make money with commercial properties? Of course. Can you make money with homes? Of course. Can you make money with vacant land? Oh, heck yes, you can. Even though it might not seem that attractive. With the right strategy, you can make loads of money with vacant land. And get this, it's often much easier and cheaper than other types of real estate that exist. I actually suggest it for many new investors to get their feet wet. So there you have it. There's a few pieces of wrong tax sale investing advice that I see floating around, along with my reason why I believe that. Now, the deal is, there are hundreds of other little pieces of advice that float around that I disagree with as well. At the end of the day, it is your business to do as you please and what makes you happy and what works for you. But the few things that I discuss are from my experience over the years, as well as the experience that I've gained through training thousands of others. It is so important to be open-minded and to learn from others around you, especially those that have been doing it for decades in all types of market cycles. That's all I've got for you today. I truly hope that you've enjoyed this episode of the Tax Sale Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode or any of our episodes, please do me a huge favor. Please leave me a positive review on whatever podcasting or video platform you're watching us on or listening on right now. This podcast is free. There's no membership charge or anything like that. But your reviews really do help us out, and they might even serve to pay it forward to somebody else who learns about this incredible business simply because you took the time to tap a 5-star review or leave a positive feedback comment. And for those who've already left us positive reviews, thank you so much for taking the time to do it. As always, if we can be of any additional help, be sure to check out our website at taxsaleacademy.com. Hey, take care and make it a successful day. We'll see you next time right here on the Tax Sale Podcast. Bye-bye.